say, I thought it'd be kind of nice to talk about James's character from Silent Hill 2. I think they did a really good job at like making his entire story really interesting because you start off really with him not knowing a lot about him, but he comes off very much like he's just this really good husband looking for his wife who even admits is dead. And it's interesting because he comes off like that stereotypical like good husband character you would see in a lot of movies, just really devoted. And then it's just so interesting as you learn more about him as you go through Silent Hill. You really realize that he's not who he seems like he is at first, and his relationship and what happened with his wife is a lot more different as you play. 'Cause you start to really see more of like his feelings of guilt because Silent Hill really for him is a manifestation of, in a lot of ways, his guilt and also his loss of his wife. And I think that's one of the reasons why I like the little things you find in it. Like for example, you find like the alcohol if you're like looking around one of the hotels, and it gives you more insight into who he is as a person in a very. It's weird because it's not an entirely slow game because it is kind of a short game, but it does a good job. It's just kind of slowly through the environment and everything, telling you more about him as a person. And I think it does do a very good job of that, especially considering how different it is once you get to the end of the game and you learn more about what actually happened with his wife. And it is a very unsettling but interesting game that I think really does do a good job of capturing that kind of like psychological type of horror in a way that reminds me kind of the old Resident Evils as well. But I do think it is in some ways a little bit more narrative focused, and I really like the way in which they do that. It even makes me think of Dead Space a little bit, where they really do try to work with and actually utilize having that smaller type of map, like Dead Space does try and make it kind of more like, gives it more of a horror feel, which I have another video where I actually talk more about specifically Dead Space and everything and how it handles horror. But I just want to talk a little bit about Silent Hill because I really was replaying it and I really wanted to know what other people think of James's character in Silent Hill 2.